Hey everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth with Stahls, and today I'm beside our new heat press, the Hotronix 360 IQ hat press. The beauty of this machine is it finally allows you to decorate headwear with some of the trending dimensional logos without leaving a crease mark. The reason why is it heats the hat from the inside out. It's a top and bottom heat application that's completed on this press, and that allows you to do all sorts of different types of hats with all sorts of different types of new transfer technologies, dimensional logos. So it makes your life a lot easier. So today I have 9 sample hats that were sent in from Sanmar, which is a supplier of blank headwear, and they sent me these samples for free because I wanted to experiment with our new press, do this training video, and also work with our flex style transfers, also some embroidered emblems to talk to you about different products that you may want to experiment with and use on headwear once you get started. So if you own this press already, thanks for your purchase. If you're on the pre-order list, we'll be getting your machine out soon, and we're excited to say that this has already won the Product of the Year award for the heat press accessories category at the Printing United show that just happened last month. So without further ado, let's jump in and do some experimentation on how this press works. So this press is equipped with our Fusion IQ control board, which basically means that it's touchscreen and there's 2 heat settings. The top heat setting is reflected on top of the line here. I have the top heat set at 280 degrees, so it'll vary within a few degrees from the 280 degrees. The bottom heat, the lower platen, I have set at 321 degrees. So that's the hotter heat. I'm going to heat press from the inside out to really reach the melting point of these dimensional logos. You can also program your seconds. In this case, I have it on 20 seconds, and you can save your presets into the control board. This control board will do a lot of fancy things like track applications, how many times you lock the press down, how often it's engaged to the cloud. It'll really give you a lot of production analytics if you plan to ramp up and do a lot with the machine. So the very basics, I'm just going to take one of these sample styles, is of course you want to remove the cardboard from the hat. Loading the machine, here's a tip that was taught to me when I got the training on it, is you want to grab the hat from the 2 sides of the bill. You'll notice it's very wide opening, so there's a lot of room to get the hat underneath without burning your knuckles, and come in from the side to load the machine. You can see how easy that is. I like to play a game and try not to touch the hat on the other areas of the press at all. You load it on, and I'm bringing this seam that's at the very top of the bill, and I'm trying to bring that seam right over the lip of the lower platen. Now something you'll notice here is this is a silicone molded platen that it's only one platen. It's hot, it's warmed up to 320 degrees. It will press any style of hat, so there's no interchangeable attachments anymore. One platen does the job for all the hats we're going to press today. So we're going to load that down. I always like to bring a hand in here and hold it flush to make sure you got the print area flush. And then there's a hold down device on this side of the machine that basically locks and holds the cap into place. And so now it's hands free for your placement of your graphics. So we have our cap completely in place, and we're ready to position our logo. Now I'll go into more detail about the logo shortly. This is a flex style transfer. It's a dimensional heat transfer that's sold by Stahls. I'm going to position that into place onto the hat. Has a little bit of a tacky backing, but I like to keep some thermal tape nearby to tape it into place so it doesn't slide. So I'm just going to string a piece of tape across to kind of hold it into place. You can pre-tape your logos if you like off of the press because there's no preheat step required. But tape your logo into place, and then you're going to cover the logo with the pad. Pre-taping is a better idea. Once it starts to warm up, it starts to release the tape a bit. But I'm just going to get it to hold there for a second, and then I'm going to cover the logo with my pad. Now, you have 3 different sizes of pads, and this is an important step that come in the box. You have basically a thin, a medium, and a thick. And basically you want to select the pad that matches the thickness of your logo. While Flex Style is a dimensional product, the thin pad is going to work for that application and the different applications we're going to today. As we start to release products like 3D embroidery that can be just heat applied, you'll start moving to the thicker pads. Once you have this into place, you're going to lock the press down. Very simple application. You'll feel it engage. I'm at a 3 pressure, very light pressure needed for these applications, and it's going to count down for the 20 seconds. And this machine has an automatic opening. So I always tell people 20 seconds, you can really operate 2 machines with 1 operator. Once the press opens up, the pad will fall out of place. I'm going to unlock the hold down device, and I'm going to remove the hat off of the side and leave the hold down device open. Now keep in mind, you've warmed this up at 320 degrees for 20 seconds. This, what's called a fused buckram, which is the hard part of these structured hats, that's warm. So the last thing you want to do is bend it or rotate the hat around and lock it down, because that'll leave a mark on that part. So I like to pull it off, and then you're going to grab the edge of your logo, and the tape will just pull off with it, and then you're going to release it. And what you see here is even on this acrylic cap, you see no crease mark. And what I mean is no nasty mark that you usually see with heat printed headwear. And you're able to do these dimensional logos. Some companies brand this as liquid embroidery, apply it directly over the seam, and hit any print location on this cap. And so that's really where the 360 name comes into place. I'll show you briefly, but there's so much room underneath this platen that it will allow you to load the hat and hit a side print location. So very easy to position, use the hold down device, hit a side print location. Also very easy to brand the back of the hat. So again, you're just going to position it into place, hold it down, lock the hold down device, and be able to position whatever design you want on the back of the cap. So you can print 360 degrees around any location of the cap to bring in additional profit. So for the Florida Basketball Championships, I could do some live customization and drop in a player's number, initials, whatever it may be. So lots of revenue opportunity there. Let's load another hat style. Let's go with something that's unstructured, like this. And this is like a performance fabric. So not only can you do like acrylic structured caps and not leave a heat press mark, but you can do some of these performance fabric caps. So again, I'm going to grab it and slide it in. Some of these hats are tough to lock down with the hold down device, so I'm just going to flatten it out and hold it into place. The hold down device actually slipped through the back of the cap, but that's okay. It's positioned into place. It's not going to move on me. I'm going to take my flex style design, which says no limits, so more of a corporate branding opportunity. Position it. Again, covering it with the cover pad, and then locking the machine down for the full application. The application is the same for this thin pad for these dimensional logos. It's 280 on top, 320 on bottom, 20 seconds, and then you're off and going. So what I would recommend doing is, while this machine's locked down, you could be on the side getting your next hat ready to go, taping the logo down into place. That way when you bring it onto the press, it's ready to heat apply. So this is an embroidered emblem. We'll heat apply one of these here in a second. So this is complete. Again, I'm going to remove the pad. I'm going to carefully remove the hat from the press. Let it cool down, and then I'm going to peel the backing off once it's completely cool. So 2 completely different sizes of hats, something that's a low profile, something that's higher crown and structured directly over the seam on this one. There wasn't a seam to go across on this one, but you can do all of these styles. Let's load a trucker cap because I think those are pretty popular still. Some information on the sweatband. If you can get the sweatband out easily, that's the recommendation, but sometimes the sweatbands are a little tough to deal with. So I always say test the hat. If you can get the sweatband out before you load it, that's always preferable, so that won't create a pressure issue on your application. But if you're unable to get rid of it, then usually it's okay to stay in there as well. It's not like the hat's going to be laundered or cause any major challenges there. In this case, I'm going to do another of the flex style logos. Position it into place. Cover it and apply. You got to wait for the magnet to engage with the pressure to make sure it's locked down into place. While that's pressing, pulling the back off of my other hat. This could be peeled like way later in the process, doesn't really matter. And you can see no markings, perfect application every time. Oh, this one kind of wants to peel, but that's okay. When I say peel, I meant the backing off of the transfer. Really, the product can be peeled warm. I just like to get it off of the heated lower platen before I peel it, because keep in mind, this adhesive underneath this emblem is still warm. And so when it's hot and it's melted on the press, you don't want to peel on the press, because that could start to lift your emblem. It's always best to pull it off the press, let the adhesive set just for a little bit, and depending on your transfer, you can peel your backing and have a nice completed look. So let's keep moving through some different styles. Talk about some different tips. I think that's the thing, is you don't have to be limited on the style. Let's go with embroidered emblem. I have a nice one over here. This is actual direct embroidery. It's just made in an emblem, and the emblem has adhesive on back. So this is one of those products that's coming soon from Stahls. And again, remove the cardboard. This is a flex fit, one size fits all cap. That's sweatband stuff to deal with, so I'm just going to leave it in there. Pull the cap into place. Try not to block the camera, but I'm holding the cap into place, making sure it's flush, and then locking the hold down device down. Do any sort of minor adjustments there. And then I can position my design. The main thing is you have this little lip, and so you want to make sure you don't pull the hat too far forward to where your emblem is like laying on top of that lip, because that's a zero pressure area. So really the bill should be resting right in that lip, so you have a nice full print area for your design. Naturally, it starts to taper off on this top part, and so you don't want to stretch your design too large and stretch the limits here. So try to keep it within the pressure area on the cap, position into place. And again, on the embroidered emblems, depending on the thickness of the embroidery, you can usually use the thin pad like I'm using here. Try it with the way the pad curves after you press it so many times. And lock it into place. We heard it click there. 20 seconds, and we're good to go. Hopefully I grabbed the right emblem. That looks like this one actually doesn't have the adhesive on it. So let me check. This is, again, why we're testing and going through stuff here. So I'm going to give that another shot, and I'm just going to increase the dwell time. That's the nice thing here. And of course, this is one of those products that we're going to be launching soon. I want to give you a preview of it. I'm going to increase the dwell time closer to 40 seconds, which still should have no scorch impact on the hat because of the pad and everything that I have here. So let's try it at 40 seconds, see if we get a better result. I know when I recently experimented with one of these at a trade show in Dallas, we used the 3D embroidery product, which is super thick. I ended up having to take it with the thicker pad up to a full 60 to 75 second dwell time. So it'll vary depending on the thickness of your logo. But if you haven't reached the melting point of that adhesive, being able to experiment and test and heat and reheat is not an issue. Once you get the perfect recipe for the product, it'll stick and it'll stay, but sometimes a little experimentation, which is what you're getting a picture of here, helps. So I'm guessing that there is no adhesive on this sample. I had somebody send me the hats, and I have somebody send me all of the sample logos. I'm going to take just another embroidered emblem and try the same thing at my same settings to see if I get a better result. I'm guessing that they actually forgot. I can actually feel there's heat activated adhesive there. It's melting and holding to the hat. So hold it there for a second, gets it to hold in place, which is a nice little tip. And let's try that back at our original 20. We'll do 25-second setting. So some of the benefits of doing embroidered emblems versus direct embroidery, of course, is the time savings. Also, if you're running a shop, you really don't have to have the equipment investment or the skilled labor to be able to do this. It's very simple to position and press to get your completed result. So yeah, much better. So Helps when there's adhesive on the product that you're using to heat apply with. Nice finish result. You can see no scorching even after I press this hat, about 80 seconds altogether from the 3 different applications. But that's the magic of this press, and how it works is you're not going to get the crease marks as long as you're loading it appropriately with the tips we've shown you and using the special pad cover sheet. I've been dying to see this one because I love the metallic look, especially on darker color hats. So this is one of the popular 5950 hats. It's a new era style snapback. Load it into place, lock it down. You can see we can even have free floating text with the flex style. Position cover, and then we'll lock it down. I'm going to bring it down just to the 20 seconds rather than the 25. And print. So, tell you about a mistake I made while this is finishing the application. At the show, I pressed the front of the hat, and I immediately rotated the hat to be able to print the back, and I locked down the hold down device on the front of the hat while it was still warm right after it completed the application. And what that did is it actually left a mark from this wire structure that holds down the cap, and it permanently left a mark where this was fused because that was hot when I did that. So if you're printing multiple locations on the hat, I always recommend you print the front last, or you let the hat cool and print all the fronts and then come back and print all the sides or the backs or whatever it may be, or just wait to print the front last on any given hat. That looks really good. I like the way the metallic jumps off of these hats. So regardless of the style of hat, there's an option. Now, one more product, and I'm going to take my risk and hope there's adhesive on this product too, but another development product that we'll be coming out with are these laser etched patches. And so these are really popular in the headwear category, so those will be available soon from Stahls as well, so looking forward to that. Just a ton of different products to feed your new cap press. The price of the press, by the way, is $1,295. I'm just going to throw this onto this beanie toboggan product. I think that's another great use for the press, because when you start to heat press these types of items, they tend to want to scorch as well. So being able to do that, cover them with the pad to protect them from the heat and heat them from the top and the bottom is a good idea. I'm going to increase this one to the same 25 seconds that I used on my last embroidered emblem, and we'll use that as our test. And again, the challenge is to start picking this and trying to peel it up as soon as you press. You really want to let any of these heat applied products sit for 24 hours before you start taking the fingernails to them to try to see if they peel off of the hat. I've had really good success. The nice thing is there's not a whole lot of people that are washing their hats 50 times. Most of these products are lab certified for 50 washes, so you can feel confident that they will stick and that they will stay on your headwear products. And so we have a completed result there. Looks really nice on that particular item. So one last hat and then we'll conclude. What do you think, Joe? Bucket hat or this low profile hat? Bucket, he says. So we're going to load the bucket hat on, try something different. We're just trying to stretch the limits of what we can create here. Toughest part of this is actually knowing where the center is after you load it. So making sure my seams I'm feeling on the sides. Try the hold down device. Yeah, works well. Again, all the products were graciously donated from Sanmar. So they have a nice selection of blank headwear. Going to position the team logo into place. Cover it. And heat apply. Almost seems too easy. So you will make some mistakes. I've personally made some mistakes even in this video. I've seen other sales folks on our team operate the press and make the mistakes. So some of the mistakes is centering your graphic becomes challenging. That's why I recommend especially on your 5-panel caps, the ones without a centering seam, to do your alignment off of the press. I also recommend the loading is one of the most challenging things that people tend to mess up on. So when you're loading, just the concept, and it looks really good, is being able to bring your hat and load it from the side will make your life a lot easier. There's no risk. That way, pull the hat flush into place, support the hat, and then lock down the device, making sure you have this bill as tight down on this lip as you can, and also making sure you use the pads which come with the press and will be resold as supplies from Stahls. You use the pad that's the thickness of your dimensional logo you want to apply. I find the thinner pad works for, well, we used it on everything we've completed here today. So very nice machine, very easy to use. For $1,295, you get a machine that can do everything that's trending in headwear, and I think it'll be a nice new revenue stream for your business. So hopefully if you've purchased the press, this training has helped you. You've learned from some of my mistakes. And if you're thinking of purchasing the press, hopefully you have some ideas now on exactly what the machine can do. Thanks for watching.